As in real life, characters aren't black and white. There's a gray area to every human being. Mike Kendall may not be doing things that are correct or moral.
He does things that may not appear to others to be a good thing, but in his mind, they make sense.
I mean, I also think having a complex character helps us subvert expectations in the narrative. You know, you're never going to expect the pimp to suddenly turn out to be aiding the grandfather in this hunt for justice.
Clifton Collins plays a pimp, a guy that I would not have much to do with. There is a natural animosity, but there is a moment in this movie where we reach a certain understanding and then a certain bonding, because when you go into a gunfight with a guy on your side, you bond with him.
When Robert Forster signed on to the role, as he said, okay, who's going to play the pimp?
Who's going to play that pimp?
And we said, Clifton Collins Jr., and he said, oh, good. He was super excited about that dynamic of having the sort of yin and yang of those two characters, even though they don't really like each other, that they're forced to work together for a common goal. And when we came up with this pimp role, we need like an actor that can really handle all this stuff and keep it grounded. He brought the teeth, he brought the sideburn things, he did some things with his nails that might not be profiled, but are just a wonderful aesthetic to the character.
Now you're starting to make some sense.
So Robert Forster came into the project because of John Hawkes. John had worked with him previously on a film a couple of years ago.
I got to pull a couple of ringers into this story, people I'd worked with before.
And Robert did just an incredible job of just embodying this grandfather that was heartbroken over his granddaughter not having justice.
Robert brought the whole stealth black hunting costume at the end.
It was totally his idea.
Thank you, Mike. You brought a pimp into our house with my babies in the next room.
You stupid, stupid shit.
We've had the good fortune of knowing Octavia Spencer for several years. She was in our previous feature film, Lost on Purpose. She loves crime thrillers. So we slipped her Small Town Crime, and she called us up a couple days later, and she's like, I'm in, I'm EPing this.
Let's start talking cast.
Yeah, bring your lists. We're gonna go start gathering actors.
On the casting side, it was incredible because she was opening a lot of doors for us and getting us to a lot of people that were just incredible actors. Dale Dickey is one of her friends, who's now one of our friends because of her.
She has 3 scenes, but one is this scene where she just chews it up. And that's not an easy task. You need a supremely talented actor to do that. As far as Octavia's role in the film, Kelly, we really enjoyed this ethnically diverse family that for us speaks of the 21st century. It speaks of the America that we want to live in.
And it was really fun that it was understated in the film and that she loved that as well. We were sitting around talking about who's going to play her husband. And we said, okay, our number one choice is Anthony Anderson. It needs to be somebody super likable, super lovable, because he has a handful of scenes before he gets kidnapped. And you have to really be
totally invested.
I just remember her saying, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to get him. Like, he's got Blackish, and it's a big commitment for him. It's really kind of taken over his life, but I'm going to try.
And she tracked him down at an event. She called us, she's like, Anthony's in, boys. From there, it was game on.
Filming was kind of interesting for me when I started out. I didn't realize I was going to start out the way I did, being stuffed in a trunk and being beaten the way that I was. I thought, started second guessing why I did this and thought Octavia was getting back at me for something.
Anthony wore that gimp mask for 3 days and did not complain once, rolling around on concrete as we had guns misfiring and firing.
You know, those are the fun days on set. 39-degree weather outside in the rain, rolling around. As a kid growing up, those are the things that I wanted to do as an actor. Those are the things that, you know, it's like, oh, I wish I could do this in a film. You know, I wish I could be that guy and have this much fun on the set. And that's what I got to do my first few days here.
For us, there are no small characters. Every role is precious to us.
Michael Vartan and Daniel Sunjata brought a lot to those roles.
Detective Crawford and Whitman are very much yin and yang. I'd say my character's much more calm, much more maybe introspective and focused, whereas Detective Whitman is the muscle. He's tough. He has no time for Mike at all.
I've never really played like a guy who's just unsavory, who you don't necessarily, you wouldn't necessarily want to just walk up and give a hug to. And that's the kind of character that Pete Whitman happens to be.
And they're building this backstory with Mike and the police and his history and why one doesn't like him, or maybe why one sort of knows he was a good cop and is trusting his instincts to a certain extent.
Mike always lies when he does lie, for the right reasons. I know he misdirects Vartan, the cop, and he does it because he's gonna solve the crime.
The one thing that John really brought to the role was The first time we sat down with him, he said, okay, I've only read the script 3 times. So he just brought a level of intensity and really diving into the work. And because by the time we had finished shooting, he'd probably read the script a few hundred times.
What I try to get to is a place where when the curtain goes up or camera rolls and they call action, where I can just forget everything that I've been ruminating on and just be present in the moment, in the scene with the other actors. If I can get 10 seconds of truth that I wouldn't have had I not put a couple hundred hours into the project previously, it's worth it.
I think with John Hux, you get total commitment. He's leaping the fences. He is pedaling the bike and doing the skid. When we're shooting the car sequences, John was like, I'd really like to take a spin at every car sequence. At one point, the stuntman comes up to John after a particularly impressive 360 degrees, gravel spewing, burn off down the road. And he says, John, have you done a lot of stunt driving? And John turns to us and he says, not at all, but there's something about when I get in this car, Mike Kendall takes over.
Another thing that we're really trying to do is this sort of car-to-character connection throughout the film. John has the Nova, the pimp has the Impala, and then the hitmen have the Cadillac, that sort of car that blends in, the hitman that you can't really see.
The car does a lot of things for Mike Kendall that Mike Kendall doesn't do himself. So when Mike Kendall's pissed, he hammers the throttle and the car does all the work. The muffler screams, the tires squeal, because Mike Kendall keeps that stuff bottled up.
Car's a little rough around the edges, Mike's a little rough around the edges.
Mike Kendall lives with a bit of denial in his life. He's done some bad things, but the past is dawned to him, and he's just trying to move forward and do the right thing. To many other people, that doesn't seem like the right thing. Mike tends to do things the hard way.
Yeah, I don't know that you can predict if the guy who's puking into a bucket while he's working out is going to save the day.
No matter the odds, no matter if he's completely ill-equipped to solve the problem, he just forges ahead, blithely and often putting himself and others in danger. He's seemingly such a screw-up, but also has a lot of street wisdom.
John instantly understood that Mike Kendall is a man that's repenting, flogging himself to punish himself for his acts of getting his partner killed.
We got an incredibly talented cast, and I think it shows on the screen. I mean, they really dove in head first and gave us 110% on every one of those roles.
Hey there, motherfucker.
Don't you look comfy?
All right, everybody clear out?
Stephanie, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, you said it's stronger in the next
Get the stuff out of the way so they're walking over. Thank you.
They get shit.
Hey, B camera, do you guys have extra?
Thanks,
Thank you.
Beautiful week, guys.
Thank you.
Robert, thank you,
Mr. Robert, thank you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
This is my father.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks. Great work today.
A wonderful days.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the crazy week.